Yes. Some important notes before we start. As I had already said, this webinar is intended for lead partner candidates who are in charge of submitting the application. Basically, we will talk about the needs for the application submission, so it is really not relevant for project partners. So please stay or leave accordingly. Please also note that the slides and the recording will be available at our website under the Get Involved section, where you have also a list and the link for registration for all of the webinars, which we have. And and it will be available as from this afternoon, so you will have access to all of the recordings. And also, we always issue a question and answer sheet. Basically, feel free to put your questions and comments in the chat all along the webinar. My colleague Irina will do her best to either reply you, either channel in your questions at the moments of question and answer sessions during this webinar, which will happen very often. So don't worry, you will have the moment to you will have the chance to get answers to your questions. But in any case, it is very useful the question and answer sheet also from the previous webinars, because there are a lot of questions which then we receive in emails which are actually answered in these sheets. And also, if it happens that we don't have the time for your question during the relevant sessions, then you will find the answer in the question and answer sheet. Also, if you have very specific questions, then please be prepared that we might tell you, please write a separate email on that, because they are not so relevant for everyone joining the meeting. So voila, this is the little rules of engagement we would like to have. Start the content of this meeting. So today we are going to make a point on where you should be with your application at this point. The call closes on the 17th of June. We are already at the end of May, so most probably and hopefully already did a lot of preparation in order to submit a good application. We will talk about building your budget, which is something we have touched upon very lightly so far, or not so much. So this is the moment that we talk about it. We will talk about the application form outline. We will discuss how to submit your application when it comes to content and the technical details. Then, of course, we'll see what are the next steps and the next info sessions you can participate in. And as I said, we will have question and answer sessions at the end, and also at several points during this presentation. So where you should be with your application at this point? What should you have at this point? You should have a partnership where the eligibility criteria is respected, as it is in the terms of a reference question document. The questionnaires should be duly filled out, meaning that the questionnaires which you send to your partners to being able to evaluate if they are relevant for your network at one, they should be duly filled out. You possibly have backup partners as well already. As we said, it is useful to have some letters of commitment in your pocket in case some partners drop out the last minute. You have a clear outline of the project proposal, so which follows the guide for applicants, as we have a lot of tips and hints in that, and also harder requirements as well for your project proposal. You have the partner profiles in progress, meaning that you are in picture about how your partners will contribute to the network. You have outlined the exchange and learning activities, most of them. You had a dedicated webinar on this 2 weeks ago, I think, carried out by our colleague Evgenia. So you can have access to this, the recording and the question and answer and the presentation as well on the Get Involved page, if you haven't had the chance to participate or you need to review it again. And you have your budget in progress in line with the rules set out in the program manual. In the terms of reference, we don't talk so much about the budget, but if you go to the program manual, which is referenced in the terms of reference, then you can see in details how your budget should look like and what are the rules for the different budget categories in the budget. Of course, you know the terms of reference by heart, and you are also familiar with the other relevant documents. from the URBAC, the program manual. Also, you know the URBAC for beneficiaries list and etc. All of them are referenced in the terms of reference, so you have everything what you need there. What should you start or proceed with at this point? You should register in Synergy and set up the technical readiness for submission. You can follow the practical guide to Synergy, which is a document you can find also on the Get Involved page, and we will talk about it in details later. You get to know the application form outline in details as well. This is the annex one of the terms of reference. You should be able to collect inputs for all of the sections. There might be some sections which you didn't need to develop your application, but which are needed for the submission. So you need to really know it in details. And those are the most important, the first two important things what you should be starting now. On top of that, you should check what the application package consists of and start collecting the documents needed. You should get signed the letter of commitments from you, for you and for your partners. Also, backup partners, they should be done in English and they should be signed by the legal representative of the organization. You prepare the curriculum vitae of the project coordinator of the lead partner city. This is something you will need to submit as well, but we will talk about it more in details later. And also remember that you and all your partners should fill out a state aid self-assessment questionnaire, which can be found online. And also there is a state aid guidance for applicants on the URBAC website at the following section of the Get Involved page. It's not the end. You should also finalize your project proposal, of course, when it comes to thematic content, including the budget proposal. Please make sure that you fulfill the eligibility criteria. It's not only about partnership, but about other eligibility requirements as well. You should pay attention to the assessment criteria. This is also something you can find in the terms of reference, so that you really pay attention to the relevant aspects based on which your application will be assessed. You should pay attention to the coherence of your proposal, so make sure that every section in the application form is coherent with each other, and also they make a logical sequence explaining everything we need to know about what you want to tell. And also, as I said, you should pay attention to all sections of the application form. At this point, you have an idea, but you have a partnership as well. So your work should be happening with the involvement of your partners, and also you should mutually agree on everything which is in the application form. And that's all. You have all the application documents on the Get Involved page in our website, so you are ready to start or ready to start the finish. This is the end of beginning, so this is where we hope you are at this moment. Let's talk about your budget. How can you build your budget? A few reminders on the budget for implementation of actions, because that is the section which is specific in this call for action network, in this URBAC call for action networks, compared to the other calls what you might have seen previously, or the other calls what you have in general when it comes to European transnational programs. So the 50% of the overall budget should be dedicated to the implementation of actions, which is a brand new feature, which we never did before. 50% of the overall budget means that you need to arrive really at 50% or around 50% on the level of the network, but it gives you some flexibility on partner level. We still recommend you to be around 50% of per partner as well when it comes to budget for the actions. But there you have some flexibility. At the end, however, you need to pay attention that on the network level, it is really 50%. Where can you put money for the implementation of actions? It is not only one budget line, which contains separately, like a budget for actions. It is built up differently. So you have the already preset budget categories in an URBAC network budget structure, which is staff, office and administration, travel and accommodation, external expertise, and equipment. And from this, we added extra lines for staff, external expertise, and equipment for actions, which you need to define already in big lines at the beginning of the application. You need to have an estimation of cost for each action to be indicated. This is something you need to detail in the application form. If you go through the application form outline guide, then you will be able to see where you need to put it. In any case, when it comes to the budget, to put in the application form, you need to know in big lines at this moment, and it will be refined during the activation stage, as it is marked here. And you have two options for the reimbursement of costs when it comes to the actions. Now we only talk about the actions. Don't mismatch it with the full budget, because now we only talk about the actions really. So it is something you will need to communicate to us at the end of the activation stage. So at the end of the first 7 months of your, I think first 7 months of your project lifetime, you can either develop a detailed real cost proposal for the actions you want to implement, or you can also do a simplified cost option, meaning that you need to provide us with a draft budget or draft budgets if it's about more actions. The real cost means that you will be reimbursed based on the invoices related to the actions you implement. So it will be in any case a reimbursement. So you will need to spend the money first and get back the money then. But a real cost means that you will get it based on the invoice. And the simplified cost option draft budget means that you submit a draft budget, it is approved, and then the FLC will not control all of the invoice, what you spend on the actions. This draft budget is something what we use for the first time. So we are in the process as Urbex Secretariat to draft the details of this condition of reimbursement. People who, I mean networks who are approved, they will receive a dedicated detailed guideline on the draft budget drafting in due time. As I mentioned, at the end of the activation stage, the budget for local actions will be validated for each network. We have been receiving many questions on the budget, and then one important thing to notice if you are new to the world of transnational European projects, which we are happy to have you. It is a good way to start entering this universe through Urbex. We are a gate to this, I believe. Then you should know that most of these projects are based on the principle of reimbursement. So first you will need to be able to spend money on the project, and then at certain times, depending on the project type, you will have moments to claim your cost, report your cost, which will be validated in a certain system, and then it will be sent back to you by us from the relevant funds based on your geographical position in Europe. Also keep in mind that you need to build a budget which is very close to the reality. So you really need to assess very thoroughly already at this point how much money you need for the different elements and aspects of the work you want to carry out in your Action Network project in Urbex. Because all of the budget changes after validation should be kept within 20% limit, it means that you will be able to change your budget up to 20% on every level, but not more than that. So it is important that you really pay attention to build a very thorough budget, already checking really how much money you will spend on every aspect, meaning on every budget category of the project. You need to know very well what are the activities, what you will carry out during the project lifetime, and you will need to be clear on how many people you want to finance on that, how are the staff costs, what you need to spend. You need to estimate more or less based on where you will travel and how much you will travel during the project, which is an important part of an Urbex project all of the time, as we are one of the pillars of our Urbex method is transnational exchange, meaning going on the field and checking out how others work. So you need to estimate how much money you will need to be able to travel to the places which are in the work plan. You also need to estimate what are the activities what you will need to outsource as external expertise and what type of external expertise you will need during the project lifetime. So you need to check exactly that. And then equipment means what kind of equipment you will need all along the project, especially for the actions what you will need to implement. And on top of checking all of these budget categories, you need to identify also how much of your expenses will go to the actions, keeping in mind that it should be around 50% of your budget. So these are the big lines you need to know when you're building your budget. And let budget structure looks like for this specific cause of action networks call. You see that there are these budget categories I mentioned already: staff, office and administration, which is a flat rate of the staff costs, the travel and accommodation, which can be a flat rate of the staff cost or can be based on real costs, which means that you already identify how much you want to spend on it and it is part of your budget. Then you have the external expertise and services, with the following subcategories, and the equipment. And for that, you see that there are specific budget lines on staff costs, external expertise, and equipment for actions. So this is how you need to identify your budget and the budget of your partners. You might remember that there is a budget template as well uploaded in the Get Involved page among the documents, which you can use for the application. And there you have a table helping you to be able to identify these categories. So this is something which you will not be able to insert in the application itself on the online interface where you are applying. But this is a background document. This can be a background document for you, which helps you build your budget for the whole network. Also, let me mention that if you really want the partners to, as I said, really take into account all of the activities they need to do during the project lifetime, then you might think of developing an even more detailed budget template, which you make them fill out, where you don't only ask the amounts per budget categories, but the amounts per activities as listed in the work plan. So you can make a list of the activities on the work plan, and then you see how much they want to spend on each activity, so that you make sure that they don't forget to count, for example, a travel, which they don't have in mind when they are giving you estimations. But all these are background information and background documents which we recommend you to work on. At the end, in the application form, you will only need to give us the amounts for this table per partner, and then of course per network as well. How does a concrete budget look like? As you see, for example, now we have a partner whose total budget, sorry, is I don't see it now because yeah. So you have the whole network, not only one partner, sorry, where the total is 1 million euro, as this is the budget for action networks under this call. And you will see how the budget on network level is divided among the different budget categories. So you have 150,000 euros for the staff. The office and administration takes into account the staff for activities and staff for action as well, and counts the flat rate for them as 15% of this amount. You also have in this type of budget, I use the rule of having 15% flat rate for the travel and accommodation, but this is not obligatory, so you have the same amount for travel and accommodation. Then you have the different subcategories for external expertise and services, including the one for actions. And then you have the equipment and equipment for action. In this example, you only have equipment for the actions, but not for the other activities of the network, which is quite realistic actually. you will see, or you already see when you're building your budget, that of course the equipment is mostly dedicated to actions. And then you check if the total is not over the budget limit, because the budget limit is 1 million euro, as I said, on network level. And also there is a total for actions, which you can see also as a line in the budget template, what you can find online on the Get Involved page, to make sure that it is around 50%. So as you see, in this case, it is 550,000 euros, which means that it is around 50% of your application. And you have this total for actions line as well, to make sure that your budget template double checks it for every partner. So this is an example. This is also the budget template what you have. So this is what we provide you to work with. Let me continue. Don't forget that the co-financing rates, which are always relevant for European projects, are based on the geographical location of the partner. There are different categories inside the European Union. The more developed regions receive 65% of regional development funds, and the rest needs to be covered by the national funds or by the city itself. We have the transition regions financed to 70%, and the less developed regions financed to 80%. You can have partners outside of the European Union, from Norway and from Switzerland, which are financed up to 50% from the relevant national funds. You have the countries from the West Balkan area who are financed up to 95% from the instrument for pre-accession instrument funds. And you have also Moldova and Ukraine, which are financed up to 95% from the Neighborhood and Development Initiative funds. Sorry if I didn't mention the funds properly. I always have stage fright and forget the precise names. In any case, as you see, there is a variety of geographical regions to include in your project. Don't forget that we require and we recommend you to have a balanced partnership from Europe, but it is not an eligibility requirement to have a certain amount of partners from this or that region. Another question which we still encounter about partners from West Balkan and Ukraine, Moldova, from IPA and NDC areas. You can have one partner in your network from either the other, but you can't have one from IPA countries and one from NDC countries. So please keep that in mind. It is an eligibility requirement, to build an eligible partnership. So this is something which we'll decide already if we check your application or not, or if the external assessment panel checks your application or not. And also don't forget that anyone from the URBACT area, which is listed here, can be lead partner. So you can be from anywhere, you are eligible to be lead partner, also from Norway, Switzerland, West Balkan, and Moldova and Ukraine. Those are the important details to know about your budget. And this is the first moment when we open for questions. So now I ask my colleague Irina to let me know if we have some questions which were not replied by me already during the presentation and which are relevant enough to be answered in front of the great plenum.
In fact, there were many questions about the budget, but all of them they have been answered in the chat or in your presentation while you were continuing. We also answered in the chat. So we also had one question about the action that was not very clear. And in fact, it was explained afterwards. It's during the application stage, according with the practical guidance to synergy, we need to choose between the option 2, 15% office and administration costs and real costs for travel and accommodation, or option 3, 15% office and administration plus 15% for travel and accommodation. This is required in this stage. Then during the activation stage, we will also need to choose between real costs or simplified costs. My question is, what is the difference between these two stages and how they connect?
Okay, very good question. Thank you so much for it. So the your choice is when you apply for the travel and accommodation. You will see when you fill out the application form in Synergy form for the project proposal. For every partner, before you enter the budget, you will need to choose if the travel and accommodation is based on real costs or if it's based on the 50% flat rate of the staff costs. And then you will need to enter the budget details like that. This is something which will be set in stone in your application form, which will be submitted and then which will be a base of our contracting with you if you get funded. This is one thing, and then the choice between real costs or draft budget for the actions is a completely different choice because during the application phase, you already fill out the budget for actions with a quite good estimation of costs. And then during the activation stage, you will need to precise them and you will need to choose if you want to get reimbursed based on real costs or based on the draft budget. But in both cases, you will need to provide a detailed budget plan for your actions. So it will not be a flat rate of anything, but it will be in any case a detailed budget plan for the action or the actions you want to implement. It is just that when it comes to the reimbursement and the verification by the relevant verificating bodies, you will need to choose if you want to have this verification based on the real costs or based on a draft budget. And you will get more instructions on how to make a decision and how to build a draft budget later if your project gets funded. But this will not influence the application form anymore. So the contract between us and you will stay the same.
Thank you, Nora. Meanwhile, we are having two more questions. One is about the interpretation fees, if they are eligible for funding. And I will answer directly that they are. And the second one is there a maximum for the travel, for the real cost option, as in a limited percentage or maximum amount dedicated to travel and accommodation?
No. There is a limit according to the program manual only for the program project management costs, because we want to make sure that your money goes to the thematic implementation of the project and not to the administration. So the staff costs, all of the staff costs, including the staff for action, plus the project coordination external expertise subcategory from external expertise altogether, shouldn't be more than 40% on network level. But we don't have any rule for the travel or any limit for the travel and accommodation. And on top of that, you know that you have a rule of having 50% for the action implementation. So those are the two rules you need to keep in mind when building your budget.
Okay, and then we are having two more technical questions. One, it's referring to the procedure, so administrative procedure, and it refers to the application form. It will be a revision of the application form after the activation phase.
No.
And then we are having a very technical question that refers to the synergy form that
We will go through it later.
yeah, I will. Yes, exactly. It's better to take it later.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
then
Yes?
we are having one more question. referring to the justification. So, what supporting documents are required to demonstrate that URBACT actions are included in the approved strategy? So, there are
Very good question, very valid question. You should know that in the Synergy system, when you do your application or later anything related to the reporting, there is no possibility to upload supporting documents. So this is something what we will need only explanations as justifications. And yeah, like in the application form, you need to explain all of the aspects what you mentioned here. But we will not need you to make reference to any documents, especially because there must be in your local language, which we are maybe not capable to read and understand. So it doesn't make sense for us or for any assessment panel we are working with to have your local language references, but you as a lead partner should require, I mean, I suggest that you ask for detailed proof, documentation proof about the strategy or action plan, what your partners refer to, so that you really see that their actions to be carried out in your network lifetime is really based on something which is already um, in place in their local administration.
So to complete, you can also put some links, for example, and explain the connection in which strategy the action is included and how it relates to the overall framework of the partner. So in each case by case, everything needs to be clearly explained to be understandable.
But know that, thank you, Irina, exactly. And to complement Irina, keep in mind that the only information based on which your application will be assessed is what you put down in text in the application form. So we will not check background documents, even if you refer to them. So the explanations and the justifications should be self-explanatory themselves.
Yes, now we can move forward.
Okay, let's move on. I forgot to say one thing in the beginning that we discussed with our colleagues that since we understand it is very important to tackle all of the questions you have, we might overgo the 1 hour of the 1 hour time frame of this webinar. So please note that if we have questions, then it's not a problem from our side to go over 1 hour. Hopefully it's not a problem for you neither. So just to keep in mind, it's important that you ask all of your questions. Let's see the application form outline. So where you can find the application form outline, it is the Annex 1 of the Terms of Reference, called Main Components of the Application Form. It is inside the Terms of Reference document itself. And also we will refer to one document which gives a bit more details on how they should be understood. So let's go through it together. So first you have the project synthesis, which is the summary information of your project when it comes to its identity, title, duration, summary description of the challenge to be addressed, proposed partnership, links to the cohesion policy objectives, and the total budget. Then every other part is about the details of your application. So you have the presentation of the project proposal with the thematic content. You need to describe the issue, policy, challenge to be addressed. You need to make the link to the European urban policy context in this programming period. You should let us know how the proposal contributes to the URBACT specific objective 2. You know that we as URBACT have some horizontal principles: gender equal policy making, green transition, and digital transition, which are on top, which need to be tackled somehow on top of your project topics. So this is something we ask you to describe how you will do it when it comes to the project proposal, thematic content. And you should also explain what is the added value of this network related to the theme proposed, why it makes sense to make it inside an URBACT network instead of working on your own in your corner. It's always very important to justify why it makes sense to work together instead of working on your own corner. So this is something that I recommend that in general, keep in mind, like an overarching principle of working in transnational applications. Then we will need to have details on your partnership. So first, we will have, it is not only relevant for the lead partner city, but you will have to go through all of these details for each partner city. What are the local challenges specific to the network team? What is the local strategic framework of the city specific to the network team and proposed actions for implementation? What are the local links to the sustainable urban development through cohesion policy or through IPA flagships and priorities where relevant, or NDC flagships and priorities? It is important that you need to list the motivation and commitment of each city to join the network. You need to identify in big lines already the local stakeholders to be involved in the URBAC local group. You should also know it by heart from the guide for applicants that URBAC local group is a building stone of the URBAC method. So you need to give information on how you imagine it already in the application phase. And of course, you need to justify the potential for actions to be funded and implemented. And as you see, for example, the answer for this question, for this, you will need to ask the mentioned justification documents from your partners, because you need to be able to describe it, of course, together with them. The idea is not that you invent text instead of them, but you ask input from them. If I were a project proposal developer, I would definitely send this profile of the lead partner, profile of the partner cities as a whole to the partner cities to fill it up with their own answers, and then clean it in a nice way from the lead partner side when it comes to the application, and also asking back for justification if you think that the content they put in is not good enough. So here it is definitely a moment to work together in mutual agreement with your partners already at this phase. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Also, you see, please explain in a concrete manner why it makes sense for these cities to work together. So on top of what is the added value of working together as a network in a topic, here you should justify what each city brings to the network. Of course, it should be complementary. It should be the same policy challenge. Of course, it can be different scopes of action plans and strategies which the cities want to work on, but it should make sense to work on it together, because as I said, another stone of the URBAC method is the transnational exchange. So of course you want cities in your network which can give you motivation, inspiration, which can help you refine your actions, which can give you new ideas. So this is something we want you to describe here. Then you will need to detail the activities and the expected outputs. Don't forget that you have a list of expected outputs very clearly defined in the guide for applicants document. So this is what you need to put actually in the expected outputs. You see there is no expected outputs under work package 1 because it is network management and we don't have any outputs related to them. But you need to describe the organization of the project coordination, the proposed approach to network level and local level communication. We don't have a separate work package for communication, which you might have in other European programs, but we don't have it. So this is where you need to describe it. But no, if you are a bit familiar with URBAC, then you already know. If not, then you will know that communication is a very important factor, we think, in your success to deliver good solutions. So we really expect you to have a serious communication plan. Then there will be a section required where you need to list the activities to be implemented under network management. Then you have two more work packages when it comes to the thematic content. The work package 2 is about network level activities, and the work package 3 about local level activities. As I said, for both, you have very precisely the list of outputs to be delivered in the guide for applicants, so you can build your activities in a retro planning manner that you know what you need to achieve, and then you see how you will achieve it. So we need an idea on the general framework for the network level activities, the proposed content, tools, and methods for the transnational exchange and learning activities, an idea whether it will be online meetings once a month and then personal meetings once every 3 months, uh, where they will be in the partner cities, what will be more or less the content and the method of meeting together. Then, okay, we will have visit on the field and then we will have urbex local group discussions, etc. So really you need to think through what will be the tools you need in order to achieve the outputs. When it comes to local level activities, then again, we need a general framework proposal from you and also a short description of the principles for linking the transnational activities under work package 2 and the local activities under work package 3. This is super important because it is the principle of working in a transnational network is that the work on your local level and the work in your network with the other cities, they augment each other, they give inputs to each other, and they enrich the work of each other. So it will be important that you already at this phase, you have an idea of how you will make sure that what you do that what you work together with the cities on network level gets channeled to your local work with your urbex local group. And then what you work with your urbex local group gets channeled back to your work with the other cities in the network. So this is something we expect you to have an idea on already in the beginning. You will need to develop the project work plan, of course, and then you will need to have give us a separate description of the project management and leader. We will need to see that you are fit as to be a lead partner. So please describe us your experience, highlights of city's experience when it comes to the topic, when it comes to leading a transnational network or just having experience in management on such a level. You need to tell us. You need to have in mind already who is who is the person you want to have as project coordinator for the whole network. You might remember that we also expect you to send us the curriculum vitae of this person as an annex to your application. So you need to describe the experience of this person and you need to present the lead partners project teams with roles and responsibilities. So basically you really need to already define what kind of team you will carry out the. There is a section on the use of expertise. You know that on top of the budget, what you have in an urbex network, you also have a so-called envelope of expertise, which is managed directly by us, the urbex secretariat, and is not included in the 1 million euro of budget, but on top of it, precisely it is 127,500 euros which we manage. You don't need to worry about it, and which will go to a lead expert, which is a person who has the thematic knowledge on your topic and has facilitation and management skills and will help you go through the network as a whole and deliver thematic outputs. And then you also have the opportunity and the need, because we require you to at least have one ad hoc expert during the project lifetime. The ad hoc experts are dedicated to certain topics, thematic topics, or certain moments at the network lifetime when you think that based on top of what you already have, including the lead expert, you will need an additional knowledge. For example, you know that as a transversal priority, you need to work on gender equality, but your project team is inclusive mobility in the cities. Then maybe you know already that, okay, this is not our priority to work on gender equality, even if inclusive mobility is super important. Then we know that at one point we will need an ad hoc expert who is very knowledgeable about gender equality, so that this ad hoc expert will help us how to work, including this aspect in our network level and local level activities. This is an example. Or you know that you want to, again, work on inclusive mobility, but you know that according to the information from every city, you already see that you will need an expert who really is a big, who has skills on how to develop a good bike lane system in a city, and you are not sure that you're, of course, you want your lead expert to have a to have a holistic knowledge on mobility, not only on bike lanes. So you know that at one point you will need an ad hoc expert who is really an expert on how to develop a good bike lane network in your city, in the cities. So you see, this kind of expertise is you can already foresee, and we expect you to think about it and to put some ideas down already in the application phase. And then the rest is needed, and the rest is the budget. So you will need to put down the budget based on the template what you build together, the build budget you build together with your partnership. You will see that you have different sections, and then it will be described, it will be explained to you in details what section you need to put first, and then how the input from one section will be an input for the other. So all this is explained in our documents. And then at the end, you will have the budget according to all of these different aspects which are listed here. Don't forget, project cost per budget category justification explanation means that you need to also include written self-explanatory explanation and justification on why this partner spends this amount of money on this budget category. And here it includes the justification and explanation for the actions to be carried out. So this is the point in your application where you will need to have to include the budgetary aspect of the actions of each partner. Which thematic aspect? Remember, you already needed to include here in 3.1 potential for actions to be funded implemented. So this is the moment where you will need to include the budgetary aspect of it. And then we have the lead partner project coordinator, because once you submit your application form, then you need to print it out or just sign it electronically, and then it will be part of the application package to be sent to us in a signed version. But don't forget that we require signatures from different levels of legal representatives, etc. For the application form, it is the project coordinator, who you also propose in the section 6 project management and leadership, whose signature will be needed to make it an official document. So this is the application form itself, and then you have a document which helps you identify what is the content you need to fill in at each section, which is an annex of the terms of reference. Application programs. So you go to the URBAC website at the Get Involved page, and then you see the templates for the call. And there you will be able to find this template, application form template, where you will have this type of document. This is a screenshot from the document, where you see what are the different tabs in the synergy where you need, which you need to fill in with information. And here it helps you what information you need to put in, and it also signals to you if the section itself has a word limit. If it has a word limit, that you will be not able to put in more characters than what is included there. So voila, this is how you can build your application form offline, and then this will help you to make it coherent with the online application form outline. This is about the application form outline, and again we have a moment for questions. So Irina, can you help me tell if there is something we need to respond to at this moment?
Well, we had a series of questions, but many of them are generic ones. So some of them we asked for clarifications. Some of them we can answer later on. Now I would suggest to hurry up until the end, and then take the remaining question only at the end.
Okay,
Some of
great.
them have been already answered, and we don't have something that is really urgent.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Irina. And please, everyone, keep in mind that when you have a specific question, you can always ask us in email. So we are at the point when you have a good application form, content. You already have it ready. So how to submit it? Again, uh, we understand Synergy is the system we work with. It is different from the other system what you might work with in your everyday work or in your experience in European transnational programs. Synergy is the one we use. So we developed the practical guide for Synergy for the call for action networks, which can be found again on our website at the Get Involved page on the under the how to apply section. So this is what you need to look for, and it is a step-by-step guide from the moment of signing up to Synergy and identifying yourself and registering until the moment when you submit your application. It really tells you step by step with screenshots and everything how you need to fill out the Synergy. So this is the document you need to turn to. And of course, if you don't understand something, then you can always turn to us as well. How does it look like in Synergy? So once you are registered to Synergy, just a reminder that if you are already registered for Synergy for previous projects, then you can do the application from the same login access. So you don't need to do a new registration only for this call. If you are lost in it, then you can always contact us, but normally this should be the case. And then if you enter that you want to start a new project, you want to submit a new project under the Urbex Action Network's call, you add in the name of the title of your project, of your network, and also the longer title, and then it puts you to this page. So this is what you will see. You will see from the guide for applicants that you will need to go to this enter main element step first, and then you will need to enter the main elements of your project. And then once it is done, you will see which of the sections are still red and which are green. And then you need to complete the application by inputting information for those sections which are not filled yet. This is how it looks like. We made print screenshots for you about the whole one. So this is what you see first. Then you go through the different parties. You see that I told you that under 3, there is the profile of the lead partner city with all of the questions, but then there are the profile of the partner cities for each city. So this is a very important part of your application. And then at the end, what is important here is that you will need to control the global coherence of the forms data before you are able to submit it. So once you input all of the information, you will press on this button, control the global coherence of the forms data, and it will give you the correct message. It will signal to you if something is not coherent and you need to change it. And once this button gives you the red light, the green light in all of the sections, then you are able to submit the application. And after the submission, you will need to push this submission button until the 3 p.m. Central European Time, 17 June 2026. Once you submit your application in English, in this Synergy system, you will receive an automatic submission email from the Synergy for confirmation, which will also tell you what are the documents, what you need to deliver in able to deliver the application package, which needs to be delivered to this email address, an@urbex.eu, by the next day, 3 p.m. Central European Time. Need to contain the scan of the signed PDF of the application generated through Synergy, signed by the project coordinator, as I said. Once you submit the application form, there will be a button when you can retrieve the PDF version of your application. This is the one what you need to somehow sign electronically or print out and sign, and then you need to send it to us. Also, the application package contains the signed letters of commitment from all partners. So not only the lead partner, but also all of the project partners. It should be signed by the legal representative. Keep in mind it is an eligibility requirement. If you don't have it, we can't consider your application. And then you need to send us the curriculum vitae of the project coordinator at lead partner. Again, eligibility requirement. If you don't send it, consider your application. So this is the application package, what you need to deliver by the deadline set here. There is another thing which you need your partners and yourself to do along the application process, and we would like to draw your attention to that because it is a new feature. You need to you need to undergo, and all partners must undergo an assessment to determine whether their proposed activities involve a potential risk of state aid. You have to respond individually, each partner individually, so not as a network, but each partner individually to an European Union survey regarding the state aid. You are able to access this link, this survey questionnaire at this link before the application deadline. There is a specific state aid guidance for applicants, which is available at the call link, which means on the website under the Get Involved page. And then this declaration on state aid will be analyzed by the managing authority and us URBEC Joint Secretariat in parallel with the project assessment. So this is something you need to deliver, but it is not an eligibility requirement. So if not all of the partners submitted it by the application deadline, it will not mean that your application is not considered. We will still check it. And then you will have some marge de maneuver, some time to fill out the state aid questionnaire, but it is important that you already ask your partners to do it because the best is if it is done before the submission deadline, okay? And as I mentioned here, there is a guide for applicants, which can be found on the URBEC website at the Get Involved page about the call section. This is how it looks like. These are screenshots from the document. And this is what you need to check in order to be able to fill out the self-assessment. And this is the moment for questions again. And then we will go to the next info sessions. So what is left from the webinar is only information related to what kind of assistance you will get until the submission deadline from us. So Irina, questions?
Well, we have been quite effective answering the questions. They have been answered, all of them. So some of them were quite very specific, so we indicated the guidance. So this is the general advice. Read very carefully the synergy guidance and the guide for applicants because you have all your answers regarding budget there. And we have one more question that just came in. That it also regards the budget and refers to the local activities. And the question is, could the budget allocated to local level activities exceed the 50% threshold indicated in the guidance, in the guidelines?
There is a slight flexibility, so it should be around 50%. But not strictly 50%.
So what is important, it's mainly at the level of the network, at the level of a partner, that might be a slight difference, but not a significant one.
And also don't forget that there is a difference between local level activities and local actions. Because our limit, our rule is for the local actions. But you will need to spend things on local level on other things as well. You will need you will need money to organize the transnational meetings. You will need money to have a first level control if you need to have one. If you need to contract one. You will need money for the logistics of your URBEC local groups meetings. You will need money for the action labs logistics. You will need money for local communication, maybe, if you cannot manage it inside your team. You will need to make flyers. You will need to make, I don't know what. So the local level activities, we don't have a limit for them to be 50% of your budget. The limit, the rule goes to the actions. So the money which you spend on the actions themselves have to be minimum 50%. But as we said, it is altogether the staff, the external expertise, and the equipment. So it is important to make the distinction between local level activities as a whole and implementation of actions as something which is set as 50% of the network budget.
Okay,
All of
so
the
I think
questions
we
are
can.
good.
Yes, yes, yes. So all it's good. We have only things that have been answered or will be answered. So we can
Okay,
continue.
thank you, Irina. Then we can go forward with the next steps and info sessions. So you might remember that there is a timeline for the Action Networks call. Let us remind that. The call was launched in March. Now we are having the info sessions. You will have one more, which we will tell you in the next slide. Then the deadline to submit the applications via Synergy is 17 June, and to submit them via email with the other documents which are required as per in the application package by the next day. You find all details in the terms of reference. We will do the eligibility check and assessment in the summer, and then you will have the decision whether your project proposal was approved or not on 28th October when we will have our next monitoring committee meeting. You know that our supervisors are the monitoring committee, which is a committee set up by representatives from the member states of the URBACT implementation area, or I mean URBACT program area, so European Union states, European Union countries, and also West Balkan countries, Ukraine, Moldova, Norway, and Switzerland. So this is the moment when you will have the decision, and the formal start date of the Action Network, if you got funded, is the 1st of November. But of course, we will not expect you to be able to start delivering things at this moment, so don't worry about it. Then we will also need some time together with you as lead experts, if you got chosen, if you got funded, to together select a lead expert for your network. There will be an open call for people who are interested in becoming lead expert, knowing already the application form of the network, of the project, and then we will do this selection together with you as lead expert and VRBAC Secretariat the month of November. And then keep in mind that we will have an in-person kickoff meeting in Paris for the lead partners and lead experts. So not for all of your network, but only for lead experts and lead partners sometime in next year, January. We don't know yet which date, but please put it in your calendar because it is important that you participate. We expect you to participate at this meeting. Also, when you are building your budget, pay attention to the fact that you will have in the beginning of each stage of the network, so in the beginning of activation stage and then in the beginning of the two other stages as well, you will have a meeting in Paris where we expect you to come. So save some money in your travel and accommodation budget for that too. And then you see there are 5 info sessions and other webinars which are related to the Action Network call. We already had 2 on the general call presentation and the exchange and learning journey. You can find there recording the presentation and the question and answer documents uploaded on the Get Involved page of our website. Don't hesitate to consult them. As I said, many answers can be found there already. And then we are having now the tech and troubleshooting, which documentation you will have as well online very soon. And then in 2 days' time, on Friday, you will have a webinar related to the storytelling aspect of your application. It will be dedicated to how to write good application using storytelling techniques organized by our communication team. And then we will have the last final troubleshooting session on the 9th of June for candidate lead partners, which will be delivered by my colleague Irina. You already know from here. So please uh, try to be clear about what else you need to do before your submission, so that on the 9th of June you can get answers for all of your questions. You find all of the details about these sessions and everything else on our dedicated web site session. And keep in mind that you always can contact us on the Action Network at urbac.eu email address, which will reach all of us as a networking unit. And we do our best to reply to everything, every questions and comments you have as soon as possible. We are very fast now, so you can count on us. And also, you may need support in your national language, and you need more information, which can be like you may need these informal information sharing as well from people who already have experience with URBAC projects. The right support to look for is your national URBAC points, who already had information sessions on the call, but they are available at any moment in your national language. You can see the link here, how you can find your national URBAC points, and feel free to get in touch with them. If you don't manage to, if they don't reply, then you can contact us on that email address and we help you put you in contact with them. So these are the resources what you have from our side. Now I put another question session, so maybe have something which is useful to be answered now, Irina?
Yes, we have only two last questions that could be answered now. One refers to the application and the deliverables. So they are compulsory deliverables, and the question is if we can also add additional ones. So yes, indeed, we can add additional ones. You have the guidance that is very clear, and also you have different types of deliverables, so you can choose a type of deliverable and add the new one, because there are some subcategories there. And then
I would like to of course it is as Irina says. Another thing what you can already keep in mind is that in every URBAC project you have a moment around the middle of your project lifetime when you can revise the thematic content and the budget of your network, which is, we call it reprogramming midterm process, which can result in reprogramming, which means that if you have an idea of something what you might want to deliver in the project, then you can also keep this idea outside of the official application form until this moment, when we can include it. But of course, you can include it already at the moment of application, because we also expect, of course, creativity from you to think of what are the deliverables which are really pertinent, which are really useful for you as a network. And of course, you can put it in the application form, but keep in mind that you will be able to add new ones later. Or if you think that the deliverables what you had in mind are too ambitious, then it is also possible to take them out later. But it doesn't mean that you don't need to be thorough and serious when you do the application. So be thorough and serious, but know that URBAC projects are flexible enough to adjust to your reality as the project progresses.
So, and the second one was referring to the level of details, but was just answered by Clementine. And of course, we are encouraging you to write all the details to clearly identify each one of the activities that you are including in your application form.
Our hint can be that even if we know that you are writing the application and you have a lot of background information, try to give it to someone who doesn't know the details of your project, and ask if they can understand what you want to submit from the application form itself. If it is self-explanatory, justified, clear, coherent, then you are in good state. But if the person says that, okay, I saw this, but I don't really understand how it helps the network to succeed, or I don't really understand the context, then it means that you need to add more information. So the keyword is self-explanatory, coherence, and justified. I would do this if I were writing an application. I would give it to someone who doesn't know anything about the project to see if it is understandable and clear. Okay, thank you, Irina. If we don't have any more questions, then this is the moment to thank you for your attention, for staying with us a bit more, like 15 minutes more than foreseen. We hope that we managed to answer some of the questions you might have at this moment. And now I stop the recording. Sorry, just let me see.
And before closing, I want to tell you that all the questions are going also to be answered in special documents that we are going to publish on the website. All the questions